Hello people! This is Bogan Basics, cooking with Hamster. The whole idea of this is to help people on a low budget cook stuff that is awesome to taste, easy to make, and doesn't cost a shitload of money. I don't know if I can say shitload of money, but anyway, I did. Also, it's for like young people who are just starting out, in their new place, who don't really know much about cooking, haven't been taught how to cook, and live on fast food, wasting their money. So tonight I'm going to cook one of my favourites that my grandma used to make, which is rissoles gravy with mashed potato, beans and carrots. Alright, let's get started. First off, you need an apron, a flannelette shirt, some black boots, Bogan styles, also a beer. What we've got: cheap mince,
Can't do that either.
3-star. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's fine. 1 or 2 eggs, depending on how much mince you're using. I'm just using 500 grams, so I'll be using 1 egg. And also half an onion, because onion is awesome and you only need half an onion, you don't need a whole onion. A bread for breadcrumbs, salt and peppers. Also, I think I'm going to chuck in a bit of seasonal. Where did that go? Seasonal. I don't know. This is my first attempt doing this shit live on YouTube. And a bit of steak sauce for the rissoles. Right. Let's do the rissoles first. Get them on. And then, actually, I'll get my potatoes out ready to go too. Spuds. Big spuds. There's a specific way to make your mash really not lumpy. I'll show you that when it's time. Probably four spuds. There's 2 of us eating, my wife and me. Alright, and some carrots. Always going to laugh at us. Fuck, that's a big carrot. Big carrot. Right, and take off my wedding ring so I don't lose it, because it's sort of big. Wash the hands, of course. Getting ready. Tea towel, don't need it, got an apron. Alright, mixing bowl. Mixing bowl. Put it there for a minute. And I need a chopping board. And, of course, a ceramic blade knife, because my wife doesn't like me to use sharp knives very often, because I like to chop my fingers, burn my hands, chop my hands. And of course, beer. Right, first, before we get the mince out, actually I might use a sharp knife for this one. Just a small sharp knife. Sharpen it. Love that thing. Get this going. Chop it in half. And what inspired me to do this, I've been wanting to do it for ages, is when I first moved out of home, and plus my daughter has moved out of home, and I really tried to teach her to cook so she can, you know, live on her own. But I'm kind of a control freak, and it was hard for me to let her do anything on her own. But thankfully she's marrying a chef, pastry chef, baker, who can actually cook, and she doesn't really need to. But when I first moved out, my mum was an alright cook. We grew up on lots of crock pots, and for those who don't know what a crock pot is, it's like a slow cooker, but it stays on all bloody week with the same food in it. You just add stuff to it, like a big casserole, but you just keep adding food to it. And my stepdad had he had an inclination to always put sultanas in everything, and I hated sultanas. So I decided I would, you know, didn't have lots of money, and there you go, that's how you chop up a small onion, half an onion, into little bits. What's next? I'll go with the bread. And so growing up was good. We had lots of food. Always, you know, Mum always cooked lots of food. Also, when I moved out, which was at a young age because I was a terror, I always lived with lots of people. So cooking seemed to be something that just sort of loved doing. Always had pizza nights, always would cook a Sunday roast. All my mates would come around, Sunday roast, pizza night, you know, drink lots, eat lots. So I thought it was a pretty good idea to show everyone that you don't need to spend a lot of money. It's you can have really cool, really yummy meals with that doesn't cost a lot, and it's easy to make, even when you're drunk. Of course, sober's best, but you know, you've got to have a few beers. And because in the country, growing up in the country, well, you know, in my late teens, early, chop them up into little cubes, that bread, early 20s. Bogans, so we're called. Anyway, here we go. Right, get your mince out. Make sure your hands clean, which I already were. You got to just break it up. Alright, I'll move this over here. Put all of this stuff that you just chopped up into your bowl. Crack an egg. This just binds it together, the egg and the bread, bind it together. Chuck in, I think I'm going to chuck in some seasonal, nah, I'll go with the salt and pepper. Just chuck in a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a couple of pinches. It's just to taste, you know, a little bit there. It varies. It changes every time I make it. I'm making this with a bit of steak sauce. Chuck that in because I love steak sauce. And then get your hands in and mix. Give it a good mix. Goosh. It's not good to have long fingernails if you do this stuff, because it gets under your fingernails and it's really gross. But thankfully I don't. Well, I usually have 2 long fingernails, but anyway, that's beside the point, so it's another story. Mix it all really, really good. So it's like this consistency, right? See, it's all starting to bind together. Oh, that's going to taste wicked. Right. I should have got a bloody plate before I got my hands all gooey, so I could stick the meatballs on. Sorry, rissoles. I make meatballs too, but I love this recipe. I made this, this isn't the same recipe as my grandma's rissoles. She took that to her grave. Right, a plate. Hands are disgusting. Hello. There you go. And a plate. Some people will put a bit of flour on the plate and finish off the rissoles with a coating of flour. I've tried it a few times, but I'm not into that. I don't like that. Right, you just grab about a handful of mince, roll it up like that in your hands, quite simple. Just break off a chunk like that, they're not all going to be the same size. I try to make them the same size because I'm a bit OCD like that. But generally, make them into a ball, or you can make them into a patty, whatever you think's easiest to cook. But anyway, I usually get about 9, depending on what size I make them, out of 8 or 9 out of 500 grams of mince. These are going to be delish. I'm making these ones a bit bigger because it's only me and my wife for dinner tonight, so there probably won't be as many. When it's my wife and I and our daughter, I make them a bit smaller. And my favourite part of these is the gravy. I love gravy. I call myself the gravy queen because I make friggin' good gravy, especially for roasts. My roasts are pretty legendary. Everybody loves them. And I will do a roast on Sunday because I do Sunday roasts. Tradition from our family and from my grandma. I used to do Sunday roasts. I talk a lot about my grandma. She didn't like me much because I was too much like my mum. But I still loved her, and she was a good cook. She was a great cook. I'll also do lamb chops and gravy, which is delicious. Also, I'm a big lamb fan. Get out the kitchen. For those of you who don't know, I have 2 dogs. 3 dogs actually. And they're both sitting there staring. The 2 little ones are sitting there staring at me. Right, so I ended up with 7 lovely rissoles. Lovely. Right, that's done. I shall rinse that bowl and wash my hands because this stuff is sticky and all over the place. Oh my God. It's not coming off. Oh, there we go. The water's getting hot. There we go. That's off the bread. Yum, yum, yum. Alright, that's rinsed. Hands are clean. I also like to rinse my dishes, or, you know, wash my dishes while I'm cooking, which takes up a bit more time, but I do it so it's neat and tidy. I like everything neat and tidy. As my wife, she'll tell you. I don't mind having a pile of dishes as long as they're neat and tidy. Right, so that's got to go in the bin. Right there. Now, cooking, I like to cook my rissoles and gravy in an electric fry pan. So, for all you bogans out there or youngins, electric fry pan is awesome. You can take it into the lounge room and cook chicken wings, whatever, in the lounge room. If you don't want to leave the lounge room watching TV, which I have done with a mate of mine, crank it up, let it get hot, and then you put the rissoles on and you turn them. But while that's happening, I'll put this away. Take it in the fridge. Move these out the way because I might need them again in a minute. And just have a second to have a drink. Alright. Oh, that's where my glasses went. Top on my bloody head. Yep. I need these to see close up. Alright. Now, the art of making a good mashed potato. What I do anyway, you don't have to take the skin off, people. I'm telling you, it makes no difference. If you do leave the skin on, it tastes just the same. It's just got a little bit of extra. They say the skin holds most of the nutrients. I'm sure I heard that somewhere. But it depends on how you're feeling on the day. Some days I'm like, fuck it, whatever, I can't be bothered peeling them. My wife can't be bothered peeling them. So I just chop them up with the skin on. Obviously I'll cut off bits that are a little bit dippy, you know. But apart from that, potato's potato. You cook it, mash it, delish. Oh no, dead air. Alright, while I'm waiting for that to heat up, and I'm doing these potatoes, there's going to be, I forgot to get the gravy stuff out, but I'll show you the easiest way to make the gravy too. It's simple. You don't have to piss fart around with, like, you know, flour or whatever else people make it out of. I like to use the instant grey box because it has a grey box is just awesome flavour. It adds to the flavour of the meat, so you're not just, you know, you've got that extra flavour, so you're not just getting the meat flavour. I do it with all my gravies. Next time I'll probably just already have the potatoes peeled, so I can say, here's some I prepared earlier, because I always wanted to say that. And as for other inspiration for this, me doing this, my two little nieces, starting their own YouTube channel when they go to Africa. They're going to Africa for a second time, and with their parents, my sister and brother-in-law, who my sister actually, she just loves South Africa. And they are going to do a cooking show as well for their school friends while they're over there. Which is amazing because they're both awesome little girls. Alright, let me wash my hands again. I do this often. And as you can see, I have a really cool apron. My mum bought me this for my birthday from when she was in northern, near Darwin, somewhere there. Alright, now for the potatoes, I'm using the ceramic knife. All I do is chop it into, because it's a big one, I'll chop it into 3 bits. Try and get them as even as possible. And then chop it in half again. And then chop it into little chunks. Try and make them all even as possible, so they cook evenly. And then into the pot we go. Right, in half again. Slice, slice, chop. And when I do the lamb chops and gravy, I will do mashed potato and pumpkin together, because that's just one of my favourites. The good thing about this knife is you can chop your finger and it doesn't actually cut you. It doesn't bleed. Alright, well, just a second while that's waiting. I'll stick a little bit of virgin olive oil in here, just a little bit. See if it's, yep, she's ready to go. And then I'll be putting my rissole in there. Right, now turn it down a little bit to say about 6, halfway. Rinse off this plate. I often do things a little at a time. I'll start one thing, do another thing, get sidetracked. But in the end, everything ends up being cooked and bloody delish. Oh, I have it. Another one of these. And those. What you're doing first off is you're just browning the outside of the rissole. You don't want to cook the rissole, you just want to brown the outside. And then once you get the gravy in, the gravy up to that level will cook the rissole as well. While we're at it, I'll fill up the kettle because I forgot to do that previously. Alright. Turn that on. Get my gravy. Get out my jug, container, go down there, right, flip that round again. See how the rissoles are holding together? That's because we made them with love. And made them with awesome ingredients. While they're doing that, I shall chop this one up again. always make a little bit too much mashed potato, I do, because I love to have mashed potato on toast for breakfast the next day. And for those of you who are going, ugh, don't knock it till you try it, bitch, because that shit is delicious. Right, and one more. That one's a big one, so I'll chop it into 4 bits. There are many different ways that people will say to cook, you know, chop your potatoes for your mash. Some people just slice it thin. I do that also sometimes. Right, now, water in your pot. Just enough to cover it so it doesn't boil over. Get the pot on. I also have multiple bloody cats who get in the way sometimes, because they don't know when to get out of the kitchen. Get out. One fix lid for the pot. Crank that on. That's good. Wash my hands again. I love this kitchen. First off, I was like, the kitchen's a bit small, but I love a small kitchen because everything's right there. And I'm telling you, if I had a big kitchen, I'd get lost in the bloody thing. Oh, yeah. Right. Come on. Nice. That little bit. Now that bit. Very good. Crank it over. Get it over. Right. I think that needs to go there. Yeah. Right. Now, for the gravy. Roast meat gravy, or I also use traditional. Get 3 big heaps of, maybe 4, 3 or 4 big heaps. Hot water boiling into, fill it up. You can always add more gravy if it's too watery. Stir, stir, stir. I like to have mine at a nice consistency where it's not running. You don't want it too gluggy, but you don't want it runny, too runny. I don't know, you'll see what I mean once it's, oh, that's alright, that's not bad. You could probably add another, I might make up another batch after this, what's left in that container. Right, that's just good. Now you just add it. Yeah, I'll make up another batch. More gravy the better, because you cover it, you know. So I'll chuck a bit more hot water in there. And then I'll chuck in the rest of my gravy. Mix. And give it a stir. That should usually, it usually takes about, I'd say, I don't know, I don't really time it, but generally about half an hour. I'll let it cook while the potatoes are cooking. little bit longer, so the juices really come out of the rissoles into the gravy. Let's pour that in there. Oh, that's going to be bloody delish. You just stir it around. Flip over that one. Flip over that one. Just get them coated. And you just have to keep coming back and flipping them over. So, like, every side gets the gravy flavour through it as well. Right, and then you turn that down, put that over there, turn it down to low, and you put the lid on. Just fogged up my glasses, can't see shit. Alright, next, while those are cooking, chop up this bloody large carrot with my ceramic knife so I don't cut my fingers. Because I am very careful with sharp knives because I pass out at sight of blood. So if I do cut myself, it's never pretty. I don't do things in haste. As you may have noticed, I have a scar on my hand here. That was a nasty cut. And that, believe it or not, was just from doing the dishes. This is why I don't like doing dishes. And how, you may ask, did I do that doing the dishes? Well, it was no knife anywhere. I was washing up a midi glass and put my hand in the glass to turn it like so, and as I did, a shard fell out of the glass and I split my hand open. And I was home alone and of course bleeding profusely. Hold on, someone's at the door, people. Come in. And as I was bleeding profusely, I was like, oh shit. I knew I was going to pass out, so I just grabbed the nearest towel, put it over my hand and ran to the neighbour's house, who were an old couple who lived next door. And pause for a second. My father-in-law's here. Hello.
There you go.
I'm doing a cooking show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, you're not on camera. It's my first attempt. So far, I think it's going well. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. All right. I'll leave you to it then.
No worries. See ya. Alright, now we've cut up the carrots, filled that up, chuck the carrots in here, and then I shall continue on with my story. Right, also, beans. Beans, where's my beans? Shit, we're out of beans. Alright, well, looks like we're having peas and corn instead. Peas and corn. So it looks like we're getting out another saucepan. Crank that on. Grab another saucepan. Put the beans in. And so, as I've realised that I'm home alone and I'm about to pass out, I've chucked on a tea towel to try and stop the blood, or at least to try and stop me seeing the blood. And I've wandered next door, and I'd never met the neighbours next door, old couple, only just to say hi over the fence, because we had a picket fence so they could see through. And as I have rocked up to their front door, knocked on the door, they've opened the door, and I have passed out. I wake up on their couch in their house, and I'm like, what the fuck's happened? And they're like, you've cut yourself, we need to take you to the hospital. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh, I'm Tammy, by the way, your neighbour. And they're like, yes, we know you're our neighbour. Nice to meet you, blah, blah. So this old lady and her husband, very nice people, took me to the hospital. And while I was there, sat with me, because I had to have a tetanus shot. I don't know why, because it was a friggin' glass that I was washing in the, antibacterial dishwashing liquid. And also I passed out at the sight of needles. And so the old lady was sitting there holding my hand, and because they couldn't, the way it had been cut, they could not stitch it. So they had to just put the butterfly strips on. And they put a paddle pop stick and wrapped that around, so because every time I moved my hand, closed my hand, it would reopen. So for about a week, I was walking around with my hand bandaged up like this. It was like the Fonz. It was like, how's it going? So that was fun times with my neighbours. They loved me after that. I mean, not like they didn't love me before, because I was awesome. I was an awesome neighbour. I'm a very friendly person, a very friendly neighbour. Alright, this shit's going good. Turn it over again. You just got to keep turning them so they cook evenly too, which is a definite must. And the bloody pot's about to boil over. Of course it is. Turn that down to 5. Take the lid off a bit. This is going to taste delicious. I hope my wife likes it. She usually does like my cooking. Everybody likes my cooking. I have never had a complaint. Nobody's told me they didn't like my cooking. That's for bloody sure. And while that's just cooking like that, for your mashed potatoes, you need a little bit of margarine or a bit of butter, a little bit of milk. Also, salt. I like to add some salt and peppers to mine if my wife wants pepper. But I always add a little bit of salt. Just because it's easy to add the salt when you're mashing it. So then it's got that nice salty flavour, because you can't have mashed potato with salt. And afterwards, if there's not enough salt, you haven't put enough salt in it, you can just sprinkle a bit on top. Till it tastes bloody great. More beer. Right, so turning these again, so I'm not babbling at you. Pop on there. And then, alright, the carrots are now boiling, so I shall turn them off and let them stew. Oh, these rissoles are delish. Turn the rissoles again. Yummy, yummy. Oh, that gravy's just thickening it up beautifully. Alright. I'd say cooking with gas, but we're not. Cooking with electricity and gravy. Right, what I'm doing now is just stirring the gravy and getting all that yummy goodness off the bottom before it burns. Because you don't want to have burnt gravy, because that's fucking gross. And yes, I will probably swear a lot. I will try not to swear too much. But what can I say? I am a Bogan. And we like to swear. And as I say, for those comfortably poor people, which we are, this is an easy, cheap, simple meal to make. Turn that down a little bit more. Lovely. Oh, that's some bloody delish gravy. Alright. Put the lid back on. Alright, and now let's test our spuds. Oh yeah, they're ready. Alright. Spuds are ready. Turn it off. Grab this because I don't have a proper strainer. So I'll just hold the lid on. Pretty sure he can't see me over here, so if I do burn myself, it's fine. Get as much water out as you can. Alright, now, masher, whack a bit of salt in. Do you want pepper? What? Bit of salt, bit of pepper. Okay, bit of milk, a little bit to start with. And mash. Alright, keep mashing. It starts to, looks a little bit dry. Add a little bit more milk. Just a little bit at a time so you don't make it too sloppy, because nobody wants sloppy spuds. Right, a little bit more. Also, you want to add just a little bit of marge. About that much. I don't do things by measuring cups and shit like that. I just do it from memory, from how I've done it before. Trial and error. Alright, mix that in. You might need a little bit more milk. Just depends on your consistency. Matter of fact, the best potato, smooth potato I've ever had was at my oldest sister's house. My half sister, Kathy, when I was younger, way younger, don't even think I was a teenager back then. She made the best potato, mashed potato, ever. Until I started making it, of course, and now mine's just as good. Alright. I reckon that's the shiznit. Yeah, man, that's it. That's delicious. Alright, get as much off that as you can. Rinse it off. Put the lid back on. Keep it warm. Alright, get your fork. Rinse that off. Test your carrots. Oh, perfect. Not too soft. Not too hard. Just the way we like it. I don't know why I liked it hard, but pretty sure you didn't hear that. going to give them about another 5 minutes. Turn it up just a tad. There we go. Taste that because that looks yum. Oh my god, that's delicious. Yum. Alright, and now I will put the milk away. Move that, put that away. Right, milk in there, egg up there, that in there. Right, we're rolling. Plates. One for me, one for my wife. And put that away. More beer. That knife away before I do cut myself. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. I love cooking. Especially for people who love my cooking. My wife loves my cooking. Alright, time to dish up. Okay, right, so we need a straining, whatever you call this, spoon, and another spoon. Thank you. What? Alright, let's turn that off and dish up the rissoles and gravy first. One. How many do you want, babe? Two.
As many as I can.
Three. Alright. I will have 3 as well. Yummy. Bit of extra gravy. You want a bit of extra gravy?
As enough. Once you've done the potatoes.
Alright. Next up, carrots.
They can't see you doing that.
I don't want them to see it in case I do myself. Alright. Carrots.
Just a red light on.
It's flashing. Should it be flashing?
Yeah, it's recording.
Alright, now we've got the peas and the corn. Sorry, there's no beans. Usually we have beans, but peas and carrots and corn it is. Oops, spillage. I don't know if you can see me dishing this up, people. But the end product will be good enough anyway. I'm spilling it all over the joint. Right. We can do it. Right. Alright. I don't know if I can do that either. Right, rinse that off. So we can dish up the spud. Not that it really matters. Alright. Spudritos. Dish that shit up. You want a bit more sauce? There you go. See? Leftover for breakfast. Yum. I will put that in a container after dinner and put it in the fridge. Rinse that off. That away. Did you want extra gravy on your potato? Sorry, wife wants extra potato gravy. Gravy on the potato. Hannah? And there you have it, people. A delicious gravy. What are they called again? Seriously, what are they called?
Rissoles.
I keep saying nipples. Rissoles and gravy with mashed potato, carrots, peas and beans. And that's, my lovely peeps, is Bogan Basics with Hamster. Peace out, bitches.